Good evening, dear Kuwait television viewers, and welcome to another new episode of your weekly program, Kuwait in 30 Minutes. The English News and Political Programs Department has prepared a variety of reports that highlight the main events that have recently taken place across Kuwait. Our committed team of reporters is constantly engaged in numerous events with the objective of keeping you, dear viewers, aware of the latest information, regulations, and policies. Our aim is to help you obtain information on the latest developments at the local scene. So stay tuned for more coming your way this evening. In our first report, the new Kuwait Investment Forum took place at Jabal Ahmed Cultural Center under the auspices of His Highness the Prime Minister Sheikh Jabir al-Mubarak al-Sabah, where designated ministers provided the strategic platform for the future economic and development plan. Attendees included senior government officials, special guests, and members of the financial, commercial, and economic communities as special guests. Our reporter Najla Sadiq brings us more.
Under the patronage of His Highness the Prime Minister of the State of Kuwait, Sheikh Jabir al-Mubarak al-Sabah, the new Kuwait Investment Forum was held at the Jabal al-Ahmed Cultural Center. Elaborate presentations were conducted by the Ministers of Planning and Development, Commerce and Industries, Oil, and Social Affairs and Labor. Attendees were members of the diplomatic community, dignitaries, government officials, and special guests. The information was concise regarding the current standing of Kuwait based on global indicators and the projection towards New Kuwait 2035, utilizing modern infrastructure operations.
I think today's discussions were really interesting. First of all, we heard our country's leadership talk in very vivid terms about some of the challenges that we face in a very sort of realistic way, but also some of the opportunities. And I think as a private sector company looking at what's happening, I think there's some very interesting things going on. Obviously, the government is working very hard. They're spending over $100 billion on various infrastructure projects and working hard to improve their own effectiveness. I think as a private sector company looking at all private sector companies, what are you going to say when you ask about how the government's doing? You're always going to say, well, they're doing great, but they need to go faster. And I think there's no difference here. The government has so many different initiatives going at the same time that it's going to be tough to sort of execute them within the sort of speed that we would like them to. But nonetheless, there are a lot of things getting done, and I think they're positive. So as a private company, what are we doing? We are obviously investing very heavily in Kuwait. We have over 1 million square meters of warehousing that we're investing now and building. Most of that is in relation to e-commerce as well as private sector growth, which should tell people that that's a good sign. If you're seeing growth in those segments of the economy, that's a positive.
It's very impressive to have this outline of getting at all of the major issues, streamlining processes, fighting corruption, making it easier to establish a business, making the business in the environment better for foreign investment, and you heard about foreign investment. For example, I think there are opportunities, particularly for American firms, in managing healthcare here. Minister Hinda Sabih talked about the new hospitals and the doubling of beds, and I think there's a real opportunity to help on the healthcare management side, because healthcare management is actually often as important as the healthcare itself. And so I think there are, from my perspective, there are American companies that can provide such services, and she was talking about how foreign companies would be brought in.
With the new investment opportunities taking place, many modifications have been conducted within the vicinity of formalities for the success of the operation. The mechanism includes a solid infrastructure, anti-corruption scheme, expertise, and a supervisory government entity. Local and foreign organizations are monitoring Kuwait's initiatives with optimism.
I've only got positive things to say. I've been in Kuwait personally for about 24 years now, and we have been engaged with the government in multiple ways. As governments consultants trying to look at the diversification of the government's, the way the economies are growing, etc. So helping the government in looking at that. But then coming back to the point that you just asked me, Kuwait government, of course, this is a very strategic sort of event from that perspective, because the way things are going across the region and across the globe, I think it was much needed to reflect on some of the growing needs of the economy.
We are a government commission. We are the investment commission of Liqar, and we deal with promoting investment into Iraq. We were present at the previous conference here in Kuwait, and this we feel it's a continuation of the previous conference. And as today the head of the Chamber of Commerce mentioned that, he said today this is a continuation.
Various initiatives have been launched simultaneously towards a single objective, New Kuwait 2035. Attendees expressed delight and enthusiasm by the event. The Investment Forum, a critical milestone towards the New Kuwait. From the Jabr al-Ahmed Cultural Center, I'm Najla Sadiq, reporting to you for Kuwait in 30 minutes.
A workshop took place at the Kuwait Anti-Corruption Authority, Nazaha, where the enhancement of transparency and integrity were stressed. Representatives of the UNDP and UNODC were present and expressed optimism for the initiatives towards the new Kuwait. The audience also included members of the Anti-Corruption Authority and members of the business and finance-related community. More from our reporter.
The first national workshop to develop the national strategy for strengthening integrity and transparency as well as combating corruption took place at Nazaha. The initiative is a collaborative effort among the General Secretariat of the Supreme Council for Planning and Development, the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, and the UNDP. Attendees included senior members of the Supreme Council, members of the UN organizations, officials, and special guests in related areas.
We are here working with UNDP to support Kuwait in efforts to develop and implement a national anti-corruption strategy. This will be connected to the Kuwait National Development Plan and the National Vision to help Kuwait better implement the UN Convention Against Corruption and achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. It is clear to me from my meetings with the national authorities as well as government partners and Nazaha in particular that there is a profound commitment to strengthen efforts to both prevent and detect and investigate corruption cases throughout the country. I think this is a very positive step and will show Kuwait's also commitment to the development of the sustainable or achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals.
Today is the first activity as part of the operationalization of our joint partnership with Nazaha and with the General Secretariat of the Supreme Council for Planning and Development to start the process of developing a national strategy to combat corruption. This is, of course, in line with international standards. As you know, Kuwait has signed on the United Nations Conventions to combat corruption. And as part of this commitment, Kuwait is operationalizing this commitment and putting together the national strategy. This process is extremely participatory. As you saw today, there are more than 20 representatives from different government entities. Yesterday, there was a discussion with the civil society. So everybody has a stake in this and everybody has a role to play in terms of putting together the different elements and having a strategy that is country specific to Kuwait, that takes into account all the specificities of the country.
In parallel with Kuwait's initiatives towards the mega investment opportunities for foreign firms, massive projects, and improving local financial, commercial, and economic strategies for overall better business practice, Nazaha Anti-Corruption Authority is the cutting edge for a sustainable and reliable business environment. The first workshop to enhance transparency and combat corruption. From the Kuwait Anti-Corruption Authority, I'm Najla Sadiq, reporting to you for Kuwait in 30 minutes.
Under the Ministry of Social Affairs, the Dar Farah Group organized a celebration to commemorate Mother's Day. The event was attended by several guests and speakers and included role plays as well as the handout of several awards and certificates of recognition. Our reporter was present and has more.
Under the Ministry of Social Affairs and Labour, the celebration of Dar Farah on the occasion of Mother's Day with a group of people coming all under the theme of My Parents Are My Eyes.
My mother, she's my eyes, and she means everything to me, really. And she's the one that she's pushing me towards success. And I would like to thank her today in a Mother's Day and all the mothers in the world. Happy Mother's Day.
The start of the celebration started with a Quran recitation by Maha, who has Down syndrome. During the celebration, there were several guest speakers speaking about mothers and the importance and significance of the work they do.
Today we have a car show for Mother's Day. So we bring the small car, the cute car, like a mini Minor or mini Austin, and we have the classic and we have the sport car. The Mother's Day, you know, the mother is everything for us. So we're waiting only for this day. We have like a happy day. Only we remember everything when we're born, what she did for us. So it's a happy day.
There was a role play by children and adults on family life. And as part of the celebration, several certificates and gifts were awarded as part of this.
This evening, the Dar Farah Group hosted a celebration on Mother's Day. During the event, there were several speakers, all talking about the importance and significance of mothers, including guest speaker Sheikha Adwani Al-Sabah. Reporting from Dar Farah, this is Taslim Rasul for Kuwait in 30 minutes.
The committee Help Your Muslim Brother Anywhere organized a charitable bazaar under the patronage of the Ministry of Social Affairs and Labour of Kuwait. The event was a charitable bazaar where proceeds are donated to the committee. Participants were business owners, exhibitors and visitors. It was a delightful event with a humanitarian purpose. More from our reporter.
A charity bazaar titled Kuwait the Virtuous was held at the Sheraton Hotel under the patronage of the Kuwait Minister of Social Affairs and Labour, where proceeds are donated to the committee Help Your Muslim Brother Anywhere. Participants in the bazaar were jewelry stores, fabric and embroidery specialists, makers of special foods such as a variety of pickled products, traditional sweets, authentic clothing items, glazed pottery, wooden products, and much more.
We are here since almost 15 years. We start in Surrah before, and slowly, it's going up and up and up. And we are here now in Sheraton for the 15 years almost. Well, I feel happy, really, because, you know, you have to help the people. And we start this one since that time, and time after time, you know, what we spent, it's coming. And it's very, 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 very nice things, you know, when you feel it, as it is as a charity, as helping the people. Well, feeling is great. You never know, as soon as you didn't do it, if you do it, you will feel it. You know, even some people, you help them. After some years, they come to me, I don't know. And they told me that, what did you did, and what the people who give them, and we are graduate, we help, we have house, we have something in the hospital, all these. So all these give them and give me also more to be in this event.
As the event continued, the number of visitors increased, driven by the moral objective of the event, which is to help families suffering in silence and students unable to afford an education, in addition to many others. Kuwait, the virtuous charity bazaar, takes place annually and reflects beauty within, exceptional local talent and creativity, humbleness and care towards members of the community in need. Participants expressed their joy for 30 years of success and gratitude for the committee Help Your Muslim Brother Anywhere. The Charity Bazaar from the Sheraton Hotel in Kuwait City. I'm Najla Sadiq reporting to you for Kuwait in 30 minutes.
A reception was recently held at the residency of Her Excellency Marie Mazdupoui, Ambassador of France to Kuwait, to mark La Francophonie Day, co-hosted by several other ambassadors whose countries are part of the La Francophonie organization, including the Ambassador of Canada, Switzerland, Romania, Burkina Faso, Senegal, Niger, Benin, Egypt, Lebanon, and France. The reception was attended by a number of key figures, politicians and journalists, including guests of honor. His Highness Sheikh Nasser Al Mohammed Al Ahmed Al Sabah, who gave a speech in the French language describing the importance and significance of La Francophonie and its important values. Reporter Ghanwa Jabouri brings us more.
A recent lecture delivered by Jean-François Baldi at the French Institute of Kuwait is aimed at highlighting the importance of the French language and how to preserve and indeed protect the French language. The lecture is part of the La Francophonie events. La Francophonie is an organization that promotes the French language, culture and arts, and much more.
Kuwait has a long and deep tradition of education. It was maybe the first university in the Gulf with Kuwait University. Before the Gulf War, it was also the place where there was the most diffusion of printing. And I think that a lot of things can make Kuwait also close from our organization, because we share the same values about peace, about human rights, about the fact that we want to balance the world, not only one bigger power, but also to have some other influence. And Kuwait, with his very soft and smart diplomacy, and also with the values of this Emirates is very important and can be part of our organization. We just have to promote more the French language in the schools and in universities. And that's why after tomorrow, with Jean-François Baldi from the Ministry of Culture, the French Ministry of Culture, we'll go at Kuwait University for the festival organized by the Department of Arts.
Francophonie is a remarkable event that offers society an opportunity to explore other cultures, interact and engage with the Francophonie community, and most of all, learn more about a culture that is dynamic and indeed diverse.
I'll talk here about French language, but especially French language in France and what we can call language policy. Because in France, we have a language policy. We defend and we promote French language in France, but we promote also linguistic diversity. We have a lot of regional languages, and French government tries to defend also regional languages and French language.
French speakers from around the globe are seen to unite annually during the month of March to promote the French language and the diversity and traditions that has stood the test of time through its uniqueness, diversity, and resonating culture. As part of the La Francophonie 2018, a lecture just took place about the French language. And the French language has certainly always had a special charm about it. From the French Institute Jabriya, I'm Gena Jaburi reporting to you for Kuwait in 30 minutes.
The Sado House organized the Children's Heritage Festival Turathi as part of the Youth Festival in collaboration with the National Council for Culture, Arts and Letters. Reporter Taslim Rasool has more.
The Sado House organised the Children's Heritage Festival Turathi. The event was organised with support from the National Council for Culture, Arts and Letters and held as part of a youth festival organised by the state. Workshops, games and learning activities for kids were held during the event. In addition to children aged between 5 and 12, adults were also invited to join the fun.
Today, as you can see, we have an event catered to children. It's called Turathi. It's a one-day event where we'd like to introduce children to the traditional games and tastes and smells of Kuwait. So behind this, you can see there's storytelling. And she's a very famous lady who's very engaging with the children and everything. And there's a photo booth as well where the children can dress up and play the part of a traditional Kuwaiti child. In the main courtyard, we have Kuwaiti cooking, which is they're doing like date protein balls. And we have doll making, we have traditional games such as dama, hayla, and we have as well some traditional crafts like sewing, weaving and so forth. And it's a day for everyone, for families to come and enjoy, for children to come and experience their culture.
It's a day of cultural heritage designed specifically for children so they can try cooking a traditional dish, playing traditional games, listening to storytelling, make memories at a photo booth that we've set up, and do various workshops with textiles which are called Fun with Textiles. This is a second event we did. We did one last year. We had more than 400 children attended, and we're hoping for a marvelous day today as well, because learning is best through fun and enjoyment. And of course, when you start at an early age, then you make sure you're making a wonderful cultural consumer of all of these children when they grow up. This is what we are dedicated to preserving traditions of Kuwait, to preserving Bedouin weaving, as well as other traditional and contemporary textiles.
They aim to promote and celebrate Kuwait's cultural and textile heritage. The Sado House prepared a variety of activities such as reading to children, cooking traditional Kuwaiti dishes, as well as traditional Kuwaiti games, where experts taught children how to play. There was also a photo booth where people could take photos with traditional Kuwaiti costumes for children.
I loved everything, but I love mostly the game Hayla. It's an Arabic game. In the past, we used to play. We throw rocks on the numbers and we have to hop to them and bring it back while hopping.
I like doll making because you make your own doll, and if you want, you can have it in memory. And it's just nice because I like the clothes and I like tying it. And the most favorite part is when you color the face. It's nice to color. I like Sado House. Sometimes I listen to my family and I really like that day and I love my family so much. Even I wish that it come true.
The Sado House offers a program of educational courses and workshops on the techniques of traditional weaving, diving and textile arts, and designed by some of the weavers and art instructors, and classes are open to all. In the past, children made their toys from simple materials of discharged objects. They would find them in the house and street. But many means of entertainment can be found inside the house today, such as televisions, video games, computers and ready-made toys. At the Turathi Festival, children got to know more about Kuwaiti old games.
This is Taslim Rasool for Kuwait in 30 minutes.
Kuwait Projects Company Holding KIPCO, in collaboration with United Real Estate Company, one of Kuwait's leading real estate development companies, joined hands with the diabetes unit at the Mir Hospital to raise nationwide awareness on diabetes in China, the spotlight on effective prevention methods. Addressing one of Kuwait's fastest growing epidemics, the partners announced that they will work collectively through this national movement to provide through information on diabetes and highlight preventive measures. Here's more on the event in this report by Salim Kandiri.
Hosted by URC at Marina Crescent for greater reach, the 7th annual Diabetes Awareness Day took place, featuring a series of 23 booths with different provisions related to diabetes. The 2018 theme, which focused on the cure by adopting a balanced diet and regular exercise, included free health checks on blood pressure, eyes and foot examinations, effective tips and advice by healthcare professionals, as well as types of activities to follow through the effective utilizations of diet centers, sports equipments and available gymnasiums.
Today we're all gathered here for a diabetes awareness event where we have different people from different departments providing their input on how you can look after yourself as a diabetes patient, what are the different foods available and what are the best foods that a diabetic patient should consume. We have the nursing department readily available to test patients' blood pressures as well as their glucose levels. And we're here at the pharmacy department providing input and advice on the different medications used for diabetes patients as well as the insulins. And we're all gathered here to help the patients understand more about their conditions and what they can do to improve their lifestyles as a whole.
Well, Marina Crescent is a property of United Real Estate Company, and we are one of the sponsors of the event of the diabetes awareness in alliance with our mother company KIPCO. URC always tries to be part of any health awareness that concerns the Kuwait society's well-being, and diabetes is one of the biggest epidemics in the Kuwait society today. It actually, statistically, it's 1 out of 5 of the people in Kuwait have diabetes. So we're playing our part at United Real Estate Company to be part of our corporate social responsibility to take care of our society's needs and sponsor such an event in one of our main properties at Marina Crescent.
I congratulate Kuwait for this day because it's very healthy. Kuwait take care more for healthy. I saw today healthy food and very interesting for this day. Take care about your health and thanks Kuwait.
Owing to the epidemic prevalence in Kuwait, large collaborative efforts organized locally, including the active participation of 2 governmental establishments, namely the Public Authority for Food and Nutrition and the Public Authority for Youth and Sports. Additionally, hospital nurses, various educators on the topic, medical students and dietitians were present to detail preventive measures and share an overview on proper lifestyles management. From Marina Crescent, this is Salim Kandiri reporting for Kuwait in 30 minutes.
Unfortunately, this brings us to the conclusion of tonight's episode of Kuwait in 30 minutes. We hope to see you again same time next week. Our highly dedicated team of correspondents is constantly out on the field searching for reports that matter most to you. Thank you for joining us tonight and see you next week with more exclusive reports. Have a good night.